Good morning to all of you. I welcomes to all in our lecture series on electromagnetic theory, that is your core paper 13, belongs to 6th semester BSc syllabus. In our today class we are going to discuss about the topic reflection of electromagnetic. Here EM means electromagnetic waves by a perfect conductor, but condition is normal incidence. That means here is the figure that electromagnetic wave propagating along z direction. This is your z direction, positive z direction, and this electromagnetic wave has electric component along this way and magnetic component along this way. When they are going to be interact with perfect conductor, this is a perfect conductor. Okay, this medium is your perfect conductor. Then what is going to be happen? That we are going to be discuss in this class. So these are the characteristics of electromagnetic wave when electromagnetic wave is going to interact with the perfect conductor. What are the characteristics? The first one is that when a electromagnetic wave in air is incident normally on the surface of a perfect conductor, it is entirely reflected. So none of the energy of the incident wave can be transmitted. That means when electric and magnetic component is going to interact with the perfect conductor, the electric component, the magnitude of electric component and magnitude of magnetic component is going to be fully reflected back in the same medium, not to be transmit in the second medium, that is your perfect conductor. Okay, there is no loss in the perfect conductor, so no energy is absorbed in it. So if there is no propagation of electric field and magnetic field, everything has been reflected back, so there is no loss in the perfect conductor that we are going to get, because there is no energy has been absorbed. Okay, so see, loss of a conductor at we can found whenever it is going to give any type of conduction process. So if this conductor, this is your perfect conductor not absorb any perfect not absorb any electromagnetic wave from the outside, so hence there is no loss we can found in this conductor due to the incident of this electromagnetic wave. That's it. So amplitude of E and H, the amplitude of E and H, the amplitude of electric component and magnetic component in the reflected wave are the same. This is your incident one, and here you can say that this is your reflected one. So this is your incident and this is your reflected. Okay, so incident electric and magnetic component, and this is your reflected. Here electric field, after reflection electric field uh, is going to be a reversal of 180 degree with incident. How it is, why it is, that we are going to discuss, but magnetic field will be in the same direction. There is no reversal in case of magnetic field we are going to get, but electric field is going to be 100 180 angle is going to be reversal after reflection. That how it is, that we are going to discuss. So first we have to consider the electric field, behavior of electric field when electromagnetic wave is going to interact with a perfect conductor. Let a plane electromagnetic wave in positive z direction incident normally on the surface of the perfect conductor at z equal to 0. Let this interface equal to z equal to 0. Actually here the figure is there. May you can draw this figure. I suggest that you draw just this figure with a large summary. Here I don't have space, so here I adjusted the figure, but I suggest to all of you that you draw this figure with a bigger size. Okay, positive direction incident normally on the surface of the perfect conductor at z equal to 0 plane. So this interface is your z equal to 0. as shown in the figure, this one. The expression for the electric field of the incident wave can be written as E1z equal to Ei e to the power minus I beta z. So now you are going to ask that initially I told that electric field when it will be incident, it will be in the form of Ei e to the power I omega t minus beta z. Here you can see beta z or kz, Ei equal to e to the power omega t minus kz. But here I have been written that e to the power I minus I beta z only, but I omega t I have been not considered here. Here only the electric field has been considered the function of z only. Later we are going to be considered the time varying. Okay. First we have to derive by considering the variation of electric field with position or with variation of the coordinates, or you can say function of coordinate. Then later we are going to be consider the time varying. By considering here by considering time varying form, we can write ERZT. And also here we considered only variation with coordinate. Here also we can consider in this form also, no problem. Okay, so in this format I have been written. So we have to discuss first with this format, then I will be tell to you that if we are going to take E1 ZT equal to EI into e to the I omega t minus beta z, then also we are going to get the same answer. Okay, so we have to discuss first with this format whatever I have been written. So here E1z, E1 means incident wave, which is the function of position only or coordinate only, is represented by Ei magnitude e to the power minus I beta z. Here minus sign means it is moving along the positive z axis direction. Okay, Ei is the amplitude of the incident wave. The expression for the electric field of the reflected wave, that is E2z, will be Er e to the power I beta z. So plus I beta z means it is represents that it is moving towards negative z axis direction. So here Er is the amplitude of the reflected wave. Here plus I beta z is positive, which represents the direction of wave is reversed, that is along negative z axis direction after reflection. Okay, so here you can say that this is your incident wave and this is your reflected wave. You consider this is your incident wave and this is your reflected wave, reflected electric field. So now we have to consider the boundary conditions. We know that the tangential component of E is continuous across the boundary, that is E1t equal to E2t at z equal to 0, that we know. At the interface, tangential component of electric field for medium 1 will be equal to tangential component of electric field for medium 2. So E1t equal to E2t at z equal to 0, that means at the interface or at the boundary, this relation we know. Second is that E is 0 in the conductor. From the characteristics of, we have been discussed that there is no transmission of electric or magnetic field component in the conductor. We could not found any type of electric and magnetic component in the perfect conductor. So that E is 0 in the conductor, this requires that resultant electric field. This requires that the resultant electric field ER is the sum of incident and reflected electric field strength must be 0. Okay. Here you can see at the interface this equal to this. Tangential component for medium 1 equal to tangential component for medium 2. But according to the characteristics, what is the value of this one? This value is 0, right? Because there is no propagation of electric field inside the conductor, right? So at the interface also we are going to get the resultant of electric field will be equal to 0. You got my point? See, this is the interface, that is equal to z equal to 0. So here in this medium, electric field will be equal to 0. That means at the interface also it will be 0. So here incident wave and reflected wave both are starts. Incident wave is interacted with the interface and reflected wave also starts from the same interface. So hence at this point also resultant will be equal to 0, because this is belongs to the perfect conductor. So in the perfect conductor, as E equal to 0, that means E first medium tangential component equal to second medium tangential component and second medium tangential component is 0, then first medium tangential component should be 0. That means this tangential component represents the resultant electric field, that is your EI plus ER, right? And EI plus ER should be equal to 0. Okay, so same thing it has been written, E is 0 in the conductor. This requires that resultant electric field, that is sum of incident and reflected electric field strength, must be 0 at Z equal to 0. That is your ER equal to E1 plus E2 equal to 0, whatever I have been written over here, right? So at Z equal to 0, so here ER, which is the function of Z, equal to E1 is nothing but EI e to the minus I beta Z plus E2 is ER e to the plus I beta Z will be equal to 0. Now at Z equal to 0, here e to the 0 will be 1, here e to the 0 will be equal to 1. So EI plus ER will be equal to 0 and EI will be equal to ER. From this equation number 1, what we concluded? From this equation number 1, we found that, or the equation number 1 represents that the amplitudes of incident and reflected electric field strengths are equal, both are equal, but with a phase reversal of 180 degree on the reflection. So when the incident electric field is going to reflect, the amplitude is going to be same, but phase reversal will be 180 degree. That means if this is your incident wave like this, the reflected wave will be phase reversal. Means here at this point, if it is the amplitude will be plus A, for the reflection the amplitude will be minus A, just reversal of phase of 180 degree. Now as the resultant electric field is ER, function of Z equal to EI e to the minus I beta Z plus ER e to the I beta Z, by considering equation number 1 EI equal to minus ER, then this equation will be equal to EI e to the minus I beta Z. Here ER will be written as minus EI e to the I beta Z. So here equal to EI e to the power minus I beta Z minus e to the I beta Z. So here ERZ will be minus EI e to the power, see, minus has been taken this side, so this will be the first term e to the I beta Z minus e to the minus I beta Z, right? I have been multiplied 2i over here and divided 2i over here. So this will be minus EI 2i into e to the power plus I beta Z minus e to the minus I beta Z by 2i, right? So here we know that e to the power I beta Z minus e to the minus I beta Z by 2i is nothing but your sin beta Z. So instead of this one, I can write sin beta Z. So ERZ will be equal to minus 2i EI sin beta Z. Now by considering the time varying form, this will be written as, or ERJT. Here up to this much, the resultant electric field is the function of coordinate only, but here function of coordinate and time. This will be a real part of, because time is always we have to consider that time always to be real part. So only for that, whenever we have to consider the time varying, as these expressions are belongs to imaginary form is there, then we have to consider the real part of this one. This one means minus 2i ei sin beta z into, when we consider the time varying form, here it is multiplied as e to the power I omega t. Okay, why it is, how it is, here I am just going to discuss, you just watch it. Okay, initially here we considered that, first initially I told that here E1z, that means electric field is function of only coordinate, that is e to the ei e to the power minus I beta z. This is your propagation of incident wave along positive z axis direction. So this can be considered as in this format, that I omega t minus beta z, right? So this is your E1. E2 can be considered as ER e to the power I omega t, when reflection we are going to consider, this will be plus beta z. Okay, so instead of this and this, we can consider this is E1 ZT and E2 ZT. In this format also we can consider. If we are going to consider in this format also, we are going to get the same answer. How it is, you just watch. Here we have been considered that E1 ZT equal to EI e to the I omega t minus beta z. E2 ZT equal to ER e to the I omega t plus beta z. Okay, that means resultant electric field, here resultant electric field was how much? This is your I e to the I beta z plus ER e to the I beta z. So instead of this one, we have to write in the omega t term, that means EI e to the power, this is your incident one, this is your reflection one, so resultant one will be this plus this. So EI e to the I omega t minus beta z plus ER e to the I omega t plus beta z. But we found that EI minus ER, so this is instead of ER, here we can write EI minus EI taken outside, so this will be e to the I omega t minus beta z minus e to the I omega t plus beta z, right? So multiplied 2i divided by 2i e to the I omega t plus beta z minus e to the I omega t minus beta z, because here minus we have been considered minus taken outside, means this term will become to here, this term will become to here. So e to the I omega t plus beta z minus e to the I omega t minus beta z minus beta z, because minus has been taken common from these two terms, so it will be, this will be the first term, this will be the second term, right? So here minus 2i ei e to the I omega t plus beta z can be written as e to the I omega t into e to the I beta z minus e to the I omega t minus beta z, that can be written as e to the power I omega t into e to the minus I beta z by 2i. So here e to the power I omega t, e to the power I omega t can be taken outside, e to the power I beta z minus e to the minus I beta z by 2i. Okay, so this is nothing but your sin beta z. So here we found minus 2i ei e to the power I omega t sin beta z, whatever the expression here we found. So here I suggest that either initially you can consider the electric field component both in coordinate and function of coordinate and time, or initially you can consider only function, later on you can multiply this one, this will be the answer, no problem. Either you can do this derivation by considering this one, or in which way I have been done also you can write this derivation in this way also. Okay, so I suggest that you write down in this way. Okay, you can write in this way also, no problem, no problem. Okay, so here what we found, ERZT is your real part of minus 2i ei sin beta z e to the I omega t is nothing but cos omega t plus I sin omega t. Okay, and by taking the real part, we get ERZT equal to, here you can see this is your imaginary part and this is your real part. You can multiply minus 2i ei sin beta z with this one cos omega t, this one here I is there, I square minus 1 plus 2 ei sin beta z sin omega t. So this will be our resultant wave after reflection. So taking the real part, this is the resultant electric wave after reflection by a perfect conductor. So this equation shows that the incident and the reflected wave combine to produce a standing wave. So this equation represents the standing wave, and the variation of ER is shown in the figure 1. This is your figure 1. This is your variation of ER. This is your incident wave and this is your reflected. Okay, we got this is a minimum value, or you can say your node. Here is another node at this point, antinode, or maximum value we found at the specified distance from the interface. So what is the specified distance here? At exactly this C, this distance, fully this distance is your lambda. So at lambda by 4, this distance, see from here to here, this distance is lambda wavelength. Okay, so this will be lambda by 4, this will be lambda by 4, this distance lambda by 4, this distance lambda by 4, this is your lambda by 2. So at lambda by 2 we found minimum value or zero value. Again at lambda we got zero value, but at lambda by 4 we got maxima. Okay, this is your first lambda by 4. That means lambda by 4, 2 lambda by 4 we got the minima, then 3 lambda by 4 we got the maxima. Okay, so in general way we written the things whatever we observed from the figure here. Whatever the conclusions are, the magnitude of electric field varies sinusoidally with distance from the reflecting plane, whatever observed in the figure, varying from sinusoidally from the reflecting plane. And at z equal to 0, that means surface conductor, that means interface, and also at z equal to n pi by 2, where n equal to 1 2 3, ER will be 0. Here you can see at z equal to 0 the ER resultant electric field will be 0, and z equal to n pi by 2, here n you just consider pi by 1, pi by 2, then 2 pi by 2, then 3 pi by 2. Each pi by 2 we can get the ER value will be 0, right? You can see this is 0, then this much distance is your pi by 2, 0, again 2 pi by 2 also 0, again 3 pi by 2, 4 pi by 2. We can get the 0 value or minimum value, and ER is maximum at z equal to m pi by 4, here m equal to 1 3 5 and so on. And maximum value of ER, see the maximum value of sin theta and sin theta will be 1, this is also 1, so maximum value of ER obviously it will be 2 ei. And the maxima we can found from the interface at the distance m pi by 4, means at pi by 4, 3 pi by 4, 5 pi by 4, 5 pi by 4, 7 pi by 4, at all odd pi by 4 we can get the maximals. So here you can see pi by 4 maxima, again this is your 2 pi by 4, see this is pi by 4, 2 pi by 4, 3 pi by 4 also we got the maxima, 4 pi by 4 we got minima, 5 pi by 4 also we are going to get the maxima. Okay, so this is the variation of resultant wave after reflection of electric field, resultant electric field after reflection from a conductor perfect conductor. Now we are going to go for the magnetic component. Okay, the study of magnetic field here. Now study of magnetic field. So here the expression for the magnetic field of incident wave is going to be written as Hi. This is amplitude. E to the power minus I beta z, minus means it is moving along positive z axis direction, and this is your reflected wave, that is your Hr, amplitude of reflected wave, that is your into e to the plus I beta z, means moving along the negative z axis direction, that we are very much familiar about the representation. Also here I am going to suggest that here you can consider h1 equal to, this is the function of z only, you just write, I forgot to write, this is the function of z only. Okay, this is the function of z only, coordinate only. If we are going to consider zt also, we are going to get the same answer. You can write hi e to the power I omega t minus beta z, and h2 zt will be equal to hr into e to the power I omega t plus beta z. So I told that either you can consider this one or derive the derivation whatever we done, or you can consider this one, e to the I omega t minus beta z, e to zt er e to the I omega t plus beta z. Here also in the magnetic field case also you can do the same. In either way you can derive, no problem, same answer you are going to get. So here hr is the amplitude of the reflected wave. The boundary condition, we know that at the surface of a perfect conductor, the boundary condition is that tangential component in medium 1 minus tangential component in medium 2 equal to current density Js. So H1t, that is your tangential component in medium 1 minus tangential component in medium 2 equal to Js. But in case of electric field, this is E1t minus E2t equal to 0. Okay, both are equal, but here not equal. For the perfect conductor, this will be a current density, this will be a value. So from this boundary condition it can be found that H is not 0 on the surface. So H is not 0 here, magnetic field is not 0 on the surface, but the characteristics of the electromagnetic wave told to us that both electric and magnetic field not to be propagated inside the perfect conductor. So both are going to be reflected back, but at the on the surface, this is not going to be 0. See, I'm going to tell to you that suppose this is the boundary, suppose this is a boundary, and suppose this is a conductor. Okay, suppose this is a conductor and a magnetic field, a sinusoidal magnetic field is going to be incident on this conductor. That means the magnetic field is changes or the magnetic field component changes with respect to this conductor, right? If magnetic field changes, so obviously magnetic flux will be changed, and the so-called electrons is going to be move in a particular direction. So when the electrons are going to move in a particular direction in the conductor, we can found the mostly magnetic field outside the conductor, not inside. You got my point? According to Faraday law, when the magnetic flux is going to be changed, the current we can found in a conductor. So when the magnetic field or a sinusoidal magnetic field is going to be incident on a conductor, then the charge particle is going to be flow in a uniform direction, due to which we can get, see, if this direction electrons are flowing, then the current direction will be this way. If the current direction will be this way, then the magnetic field will be outside around this conductor, right? So likewise, when the magnetic field component interacted with the perfect conductor, at the surface we can get the magnetic field, but inside the conductor, I'm telling you, perfect conductor, the magnetic field is very negligible or tends to zero, we can say. So whatever the magnetic field we are going to find out outside or on the surface of the conductor. When a outside magnetic field is sinusoidal magnetic field is going to interact with a perfect conductor, how it is we have been shortly discussed here. Okay, so here, so from this boundary condition it can be found that H is not zero on the surface, that is this is the equation Z equal to 0. So at Z equal to 0, H is not 0, hence resultant magnetic field not to be 0. Okay, if so, here 2 times I written on that H resultant, this is your resultant magnetic field. Okay, 2 times here I written, no need to write this one itself again, hence not resultant magnetic field. Here you can write. So from this boundary condition it can be found that a resultant magnetic field, resultant H, is not 0 on the surface. Okay, that means magnetic field strength reflected without reversal of phase. See, if on the surface magnetic field is going to be 0, resultant magnetic field, suppose on the surface resultant magnetic field is going to be 0, that means incident magnetic field and reflected magnetic field, and this is your incident magnetic field and reflected magnetic field, both are reversal, then we can found the 0 on the surface. So here on the surface we are not getting the 0 value of the magnetic field for the perfect conductor. That means this incident and reflected component are not phase reversal. That's it. Okay, so here the same thing it has been written that as so from this boundary condition it can be found that resultant H is not 0 on the surface, that is your Z equal to 0. That means magnetic field strength reflected without reversal of phase. Okay, therefore HI and HR should be the same, at Z equal to 0. Okay, that implies HI equal to HR, but in case of electric field we found EI equal to minus ER, phase reversal. Due to the phase reversal we got EI minus ER, but here HI equal to HR without phase reversal. Let this is your equation number 2. Now the resultant magnetic field is HR, which is the function of Z. Here we consider only the function of Z, equal to HI plus H1 plus H2. HRZ will be equal to HI e to the minus I beta Z plus HR e to the plus I beta Z. So here HRZ will be written as HI e to the minus I beta Z, as HR equal to HI. So here I can write HI into e to the plus I beta Z. Take common HI and multiply 2 over here and divide 2 over here, then it can be written as e to the power minus I beta Z plus e to the plus I beta Z. So e to the power, this is the bracket value is nothing but cos beta Z. You can check, no problem. This is your cos beta Z minus I sin beta Z plus cos beta Z plus I sin beta Z. So sin term will be dot cancel, and we can found 2 cos beta Z divided by 2 only cos beta Z. So instead of this one I can write cos beta Z, and 2 is here 2 HI. So this is your resultant magnetic field, resultant magnetic field, which is the function of coordinate only. Now, if we are going to consider time varying form, then only e to the power I omega t is going to be multiplied with this one. But at that time, we have to consider the real part of this one. And here one thing I forgot to tell to you, that whenever we are going to consider uh, the the resultant electric field in the form of zt, here from the initial itself we have to write the real part, because as this is the function of both position and time is not a imaginary part. Time is not, could not be considered as an imaginary quantity. So from here itself we have to write real part. Okay, real part of this one, real part of this one, like that. From the beginning itself we have to write. But here, whenever we added the time, whenever we added the time factor, at that time we consider real part. Okay, so HRZT will be equal to real part of 2HI into cos beta Z into e to the power I omega t. Here again I am going to suggest to you that you can consider here here I have been considered that H1 incident and reflected both are function of Z only, coordinate only, and the hence resultant also function of coordinate. Here this H1 can be considered as Hi into e to the power I omega t minus beta Z, and this can be considered as HR into e to the power I omega t plus beta Z. So if I am going to write, or if I am going to consider at a time time factor and position factor, then I have to consider the real part of this one, because time could not be imaginary. So only for that real part of this one. So in this way, by considering this and this also, we can derive and we can get the same answer, this one. You can check by rough, no problem. I suggest that you just write whatever in which method, in which way I have been written. Okay. So real part of 2hi into cos beta z, this e to the I omega t can be written as cos omega t plus I sin omega t, and the real part will be nothing but 2hi cos beta z into cos omega t. Let this is your equation number 4, and this equation is also represents a standing wave, and the variation of HR, you can see cos value will be maximum at z equal to 0. Z equal to 0, this will be the maximum. But here z equal to 0, this will be minimum. Z equal to 0, this will be minimum. So hence at the interface electric field, the resultant electric field, we found 0. But here the resultant magnetic field, we are going to get the maximum at the interface. Right? This is your variation of incident and reflected. So here you can get that this equation 4 represents the standing wave. Okay, at z equal to 0, that means at the interface we found the maximum value or the maxima, but nodes we found at here and here. See, from this to this is a wave length. From this length, this point to this point is your full wavelength. Okay. So from this to this length is how much? Pi by 4. This much distance, again pi by 4, pi by 4, pi by 4. Okay. So from here to here is your full wavelength, and here to here is your lambda by 2. So lambda is this much distance. So where we got the maxima? At z equal to 0 we got the maxima. Again we got the maxima at lambda by 2. Okay. Again we are going to get 2 lambda by 2. So HR is the maxima at z equal to 0. and z equal to m lambda by 2. M is your 1, 2, 3 and so on, right? M will be your 1, 2, 3 and so on. You can put 1 means lambda by 2 is maxima. Again you can put 2. 2 lambda by 2 means this much is lambda by 2. Again this much is your lambda by 2. Lambda by 2 is maxima. Again lambda by 2. 2 lambda by 2 also maxima. 3 lambda by 2 also we are going to get the maximum value of HR. Where we got the HR value is 0. Here we got the HR value is 0. From the interface, how much distance this one? Is your pi by 4. So at pi by 4 we got minimum value. Again pi by 4, 2 pi by 4, 3 pi by 4. 3 pi by 4 we got the minimum value. So HR will be equal to 0. Resultant magnetic field will be 0 at Z. Variation of Z equal to n lambda by 4. Here n equal to 1, 3, 5 and so on. So at pi by 4 this is 0. Again 3 we have to put 3 pi by 4 is this one. Also we are going to get the minima or 0. And the maximum value of HR is nothing but 2i, because cos theta maximum value is 1 plus 1. This one will be plus 1. This one also will be plus 1. So maximum value of resultant of magnetic field will be 2hi. So this is all about your discussion regarding reflection of electromagnetic waves by a perfect conductor for normal incidence only, because in your syllabus normal incidence only is there, other oblique incident is not there. So this is all about your topic whatever we have discussed. So I suggest that you go through this video carefully and write down the note. Here again I am going to tell that either in which way I have been written, you can write in that way, or you can consider this way also. If you are going to consider this way, you are going to get the same answer, but here from the initial you have to write real part of this one. Whenever we consider the time factor, means it should be the real factor we have to consider, that we should be consider the real factor. So real part of this one, again real part of this one, again you have to write real part of this one, like that. For electric field you have to write in this way, and for the magnetic field also you can write in that way also, or you can follow whatever I have been written in the note. So thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you.